Hi, my name's Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. One of the greatest evils that plague North Americans today is Monsanto and genetically modified crops. Now, Europe, India, China, Russia have all been able to, at the very least, instill labeling and in many cases ban them. There is now 53 countries that require labeling, while Canada and the US require absolutely no labeling whatsoever. In fact, both of our countries have what is called the Monsanto Protection Act, which means we cannot actually challenge their apparent right to poison us.
You know, it's time that we get mandatory labeling. It's time we cut down the biotech bullies to size. And then now, let's have that discussion again about chemical agriculture versus organic or traditional agriculture. The overwhelming majority of the public want us to produce food and to raise animals in the natural, healthy, humane way, in a way that doesn't destroy the environment, public health, and the climate. And we're going to get to that point, but it's going to require, as I often put it, the food fight of our lives.
Now, Monsanto is a publicly traded company, and you can investigate who those shareholders are. You're going to find they're the elite, and you're going to find they're the same sons of bitches that own big pharmaceutical.
Genetic engineering is a process where scientists take genes from one species and force it into the DNA of other species.
Every single independent study conducted on the impact of genetically modified food shows that it damages organs, it causes infertility, it causes immune system failure, it causes holes in the GI tract, it causes multiple organ system failure.
The whole concept of genetically modified organisms is throwing a monkey wrench in the life on this planet.
Universities that depend on industry money are pressured to not allow this or to discourage this kind of research.
Monsanto's own research shows that when rats were fed this BT corn, they had signs of toxicity in the liver and kidneys. When genetically modified soybeans were fed to rodents, we've seen changes in the testicles changing from pink to blue, changes in the sperm cells, changes in the uterus and ovaries, in the DNA functioning of the embryo offspring.
In both men and women who eat it, in the form of any product, to produce antibodies to sperm. If the men eat the epicite gene, they produce antibodies to their own sperm, rendering them irreversibly sterile. If women eat the epicite gene, when they have intercourse, their bodies produce antibodies to the sperm that has been deposited, and they become infertile through the destruction of the sperm. Now, DuPont and Monsanto formed a joint venture, purchased the epicite firm, and, quote, commercialized the epicite gene. Do you want to know if the food that you're eating contains the epicite gene? Sure you do. How about the food that your children are eating, or your grandchildren? Sure you do.
We've seen smaller babies, a death rate that's 5 times that compared to controls. Sterile babies, even babies with hair growing in their mouths. And this has been done by government scientists as well as independent scientists who are at the top of their field.
Now, if you really want to bring yourself up to speed fast and really understand what is going on with the global food supply, there are 2 documentaries that I really recommend. One, I believe, is a Gary Null documentary, and you can pretty much trust anything Gary Null says. It's called Seeds of Death. The other one is The World According to Monsanto. Now, to stay out of any of the Monsanto-funded documentaries of propaganda, lies, and narcissistic gaslighting and bullshit, I would stick to these two documentaries. They are older documentaries, but what they really offer is names, dates, times, and places. So everything that is said in those documentaries can be easily researched and tracked, so you're not taking my word for it. So you need to come to your own conclusions for you to truly internalize what's happening and really be aware of what's happening in the food supply. I always recommend people do their own research and form their own opinions. For truth seekers regarding the safety of genetically modified foods, I strongly suggest you check out Dr. Jeffrey M. Smith's website, the Institute for Responsible Technology. I'm going to put the links for the two documentaries and Dr. Jeffrey M. Smith's site below in the description. Now, I really don't want to waste a lot of time talking about the problem. The problem is clear. The food is poison, and it makes up almost 90% of all available food in the United States and almost 80% here in Canada. Now, how do you protect yourself from that? Organic. Of course, I've heard it over and over and over again. Switching to organic is just too expensive, but let's talk about that. Now, I understand that organic foods can be a bit more expensive, and I'll tell you, in some cases, I find the exact opposite. Now, for example, here in Canada, genetically modified bananas are around 77 cents Canadian per pound or kilo, or however we sell it here. Now, the organic bananas are about 82 cents. So, yes, there is a slight difference in price. So, if my budget allowed for, let's say, $5 worth of bananas, now, if I buy the organic bananas, I'm going to end up with a couple less bananas if I kind of stick to that dollar value. Now, the difference is the genetically modified bananas, well, first of all, they're cancer-causing, and they're completely toxic. They're a sterility drug, and I don't care if I'm sterilized. I'm almost 60 and got 5 kids, but I really don't want my kids being sterilized. So in the end, I end up with more bananas that are dead of vitamins and nutrients, where had I taken the lesser amount of organic bananas, those bananas would have been high in vitamins, nutrients, and minerals. The difference between vitamin-rich food and vitamin-void foods is, first of all, eating the vitamin-void foods, your body is literally starving. So you're going to be eating a lot more of them, where had you just eaten less of the vitamin, nutrient, and mineral-rich food, you'd need a lot less of it. So just as an example, in the bananas, I think that can transcend through to any other crops that you're looking, at buying. Now, when you only buy organic, I have a bit of a shopping regimen. There are 4, 5 stores that I frequent. Why? Because one of them is always going to have the flour on sale. One of them is going to have a sale on organic juice. Maybe I walk into one, they've got a sale on organic carrots and organic bread, but I can't get, something else there. So I go on to the next store, and that's where I'm going to find those other things. Now, shopping organic is a bit more time consuming, but I'll tell you, I've got my schedule down pretty good. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm looking for, and I can knock it out pretty quick. But that also comes with many, many years of only eating organic and having to learn how to shop. Now, I'm not going to walk into the Safeway, for example, and if the sugar is $4.99, I'm not buying the sugar. But if I get into the next store, and this just happened actually, where the organic sugar was on sale, the date was good, and I think 10 months out, and the same boxes of sugar were on sale for 99 cents, like kind of a door crasher sale. I filled a buggy with it. So you kind of have to shop a little bit differently, but it can be done, and it can be done very affordably. Now, fair enough, it is probably $1 more for 3 heads of romaine lettuce hearts, okay, because they come in a pack. There's either going to be like an GMO one, traditionally farm one, or the organic one. The organic one is about $1 more. But what I do with that is, how the lettuce comes and there's the end, right, the root end. Just cut your lettuce off, leaving about this much of the root end. You just sit that root end in a dish with a bit of water, water in it, and that lettuce will regrow. It will regrow. You can then cut it off again, and it'll regrow again. It should regrow in that dish 3 to 5 times. Now, in your kitchen like that, there could be direct sunlight coming in, and you don't want any algae to form in that little dish. So what you do is just add 1 or 2 drops of hydrogen peroxide and eliminate the possibility of any algae forming. So that bag of 3 romaine lettuce hearts that you paid $1 more for could actually turn into 9, 12 heads of lettuce if you just let it regrow. You don't have to throw that end out. Now, I was an organic seed dealer online for many years. Now, of course, Trevor eliminated all that shit from my life, but I am now actually in the process of adding inventory again to my new online organic seed shop. Now, it's nonprofit. The seeds we'll sell them as cheap as we can, and that's really just about developing a seed bank. Now, your average cost of a pack of, say, let's just say 30 certified organic bell pepper seeds is going to be around $3.99. Now, when I buy a certified organic pepper and I cut it open, well, there's not 30 seeds in there. Sometimes there's 200 seeds in there. So you have to consider what you've bought. Do not throw those seeds away. Take those seeds out of there. I'll usually leave that core with all the seeds attached and shake them out onto a paper towel, or sometimes I drop them in a coffee filter. I let them kind of sit and dry for a few days, and then they crumble off very easily. I dry them completely, and I package those away. So from my overpriced organic bell pepper, not only did I get the bell pepper, but I probably got about 5 or 6, packs of seeds. So you can later grow those or trade those through seed exchange groups, or even package and sell those seeds if you want to. Now, admittedly, sometimes I go to the grocery store and the organic apples are like $7 or $8 for a bag, and I wouldn't touch those with a 10-foot pole. But when I do go in the grocery store and those same bags of apples, Macintosh or Gala apples, are on sale for $3.99 a bag, again, I fill a buggy with them. So then I'll take the apples home, I run them through my juicer. Everything that comes out, kind of the pureed end, goes into a pot with a bit of organic sugar and some cinnamon, and I will can pie filling, applesauce, apple jelly, and things like that. Everything that came out the juice end, and sometimes I've got a 5-gallon pail, goes into mason jars, and that gets hot water bath, and I've got a month's worth of natural organic apple juice for the kids. I've got all kinds of apple preserves. All of that takes me a matter of hours, and I'm good for a month, and at a very, very low cost. Now, another thing that you can do with some of those apples, which are great treats for the kids, and I do it every time, is I just run them through my mandolin and I put them in my dehydrators. Now, dehydrators can be quite expensive, and yes, I did go into a retail store and pay about $180 for one. After that, I was looking at Kijiji one time, and I noticed there was quite a few brand new dehydrators still in the box. People got them for Christmas or whatever, never used them. So I was able to pick up quite a few additional dehydrators, brand new in the box, for like $15, $20. So if you look around, it's actually pretty easy to find these things. Another thing is I juice every day at least once. Now, I do have the big Molinex, very expensive juicer, which is just a pain in the ass to wash. I end up picking up a couple extra juicers actually at the thrift store, because a lot of people think it's a great idea and then don't bother with it, so they end up in thrift stores very, very frequently. So I do have a couple extra backup juicers. One I use every day is a Molinex, also an older one. The thing runs like a tank, and I think I paid $4 or $5 for it. Now, as Monsanto has taken over the food industry, the domestic tomato has become like the holy grail of produce. Finding organic tomatoes, first of all, is very difficult. Know for sure that most tomatoes are genetically modified. I'd stay away from the broccoli. It's pretty funky. Russet potatoes, swap those out for white or red skin potatoes. But as far as the tomato goes, if you're buying organic tomatoes, for God's sakes, do not be eating those seeds. Seeds come out of tomatoes really, really easy. And remember, with every bit of produce that you buy that is organic, it's probably going to have seeds in it, and those seeds are extremely valuable. The global supply of natural or organic seed is never been so low. It's probably going to be the, currency of the future. So I strongly suggest, if you are thinking about switching to organic, and I'd be giving that some serious thought, get the seeds out of everything. Why are you eating seeds anyways? I mean, one seed will turn into 1,000,000 seeds, and for every seed you eat, you have eliminated from your own life and from your children and grandchildren's lives the future of being able to sustain themselves. Yes, in some cases, organic food is a little bit more. I'm not seeing any huge shocking difference, and I live in a country where they charge $3.50 for a bloody bell pepper, okay? The food prices in Canada are astronomical, but you can learn to shop very wisely. In fact, I would bet eating organic only, my grocery bill is probably less than a lot of people's. Now, when I go down the organic cereal aisle, you know what? This week, if my kid's third favorite brand is on sale, well, that's what he's eating this week. There's always going to be a brand on sale. You learn how to shop organic, and I really hope you guys take the time to check out those two documentaries, Seeds of Death and The World According to Monsanto. It's quite a interesting and frightening eye-opener, but you don't want to be feeding your kids these toxins. I know you don't. I sure don't. And the other thing you've got to consider, 1 in 6 children now are on some kind of antipsychotic medication for ADD, ADHD, OCD, or some other combination of letters, and people are having to pay for these medications. Well, those conditions, those childhood illnesses are directly linked to the consumption of genetically modified foods. Chemotherapy isn't cheap either. So in the end, you got to consider, where's your money going to go? If you can continue to eat the genetically modified foods, the chances are you're going to end up with some horrible illness. And if you can't afford organic foods, you probably can't afford the outrageous prices of medication to treat the illness that was caused by the genetically modified food.